Hello there everybody, Sam Strains here, welcome back to the Railway and welcome to another Hornby train pack review. So today I've got a really cracking train pack to show you. It is the Hornby Tyseley Connection train pack, which features, as you can tell on the front there, the whole class with 3 coaches. So really excited about this one. I got quite a bargain on this, and basically the RRP for this particular set, or pack I should say, is really quite high, £199.95 or something like that from Hornby, so pretty much 200 quid. Now that is £30 more expensive than the Bachmann ambulance train set, which cost I think £160, was it 169? Let me double check. £169.95 was the Bachmann ambulance train pack, and of course with that one you got the huge, almost sort of display case like outer packaging with that beautiful artwork on that, and of course in there also you got the little figures, the ambulance figures inside there. Nothing like that with this one, yet it's still £30 more expensive, so we'll have to see whether this is worth it. We're going to keep a close eye on the value for money on this one. However, the other retailers of course sell this for much less. This can be bought for £154. I'll include a link in the description if you're interested in that. But no, I got this one on eBay actually for really quite a bargain. As I say, 200 quid there more or less for the RRP, but I actually paid 100 for this, and that was buy it now as well. Some guy was just selling it off, brand new, never been opened or anything like that, so I picked it up. So for 100 quid, I'm really quite pleased with this. But for now, let's unpack this, let's take a look and I'll review it for you, and then we can decide together whether it's worth the RRP or even £154. I think £154 is pretty good for this. Okay, let's take a look. So yes, there it is, the Tyseley Connection Hornby train pack. And I don't think I've really unboxed any modern Hornby train packs, so this is the first time I've seen the latest version of their packaging. And I've got to say, it really is quite attractive, isn't it, with all the Hornby colours on it and the huge photos of everything you get in the pack. Yeah, really quite nice artwork on there. Of course, unlike Bachmann, the material that this is made of is just a thin cardboard, and obviously it doesn't have the beautiful sort of digital artwork that the Bachmann train packs have, but certainly it's not too bad. So anyway, as you can see, this particular pack is a limited edition of 1000, and there should be a certificate inside which tells us exactly which number this one is. And then in the text description here you can see what we get. So you get the GWR 460 Hall class Pitchford Hall, and then below there you get a list of the 3 coaches that you get included, and then below there's a little bit of information about the Tyseley locomotive works. If you want to read that, feel free to pause it and do so, but in a nutshell it was basically a locomotive, perhaps you'd say workshop for want of a better term, which basically restored withdrawn steam locomotives back to working order, and of course that's locomotives outside of the national collection. So yeah, quite a nice little place that, and it's done a lot of good for us steam enthusiasts. Anyway, if I flip this over onto its back, you can see that the back is pretty much similar. There's just the artwork again, but then down in the bottom corner here you can see that this is R3220, if I've read that right upside down, and yes, as you know, it's the Tyseley Connection train pack. That's just in case you wanted to look it up. But for now, I think that's pretty much all there is to see on the outside of the packaging, so let's get this out and take a look at this beautiful train pack. Just undo the end here and slide it out. Let's see what it's like. Aha, so we've got just a white card on here. Again, I was a little bit surprised just to get a white card on here because, as I say, I'm comparing this directly to the Bachmann ambulance train pack because that's another modern train pack I've got. Obviously that one and the Railway Children of course had a lot of artwork on the inlay, but this is just, you know, a bit of card, which is strange for a more expensive pack, but it's not too bad. I mean, we only care about what you get really. I mean, those are just nice extras. Okay, so here is the certificate then. Let me show it to you there. Yeah, this is the certificate of authenticity, and as you can see down in the bottom corner there, this is number 266, so about the first quarter, you could say. I don't know, that's not important, is it? But yeah, quite a nice certificate. I might get that one framed if I can find a frame big enough. I do like to frame those. And then if I take a look here, we have the operating and maintenance instructions for the Hall class. There you go. If I just open this up, Yeah, there you can see the diagrams. It shows you where to oil. It's basically the usual drill, isn't it? Body removal, close coupling, DCC ready, shows you how to fit the decoders. Yep, that's all pretty standard stuff, isn't it? But nice to know nonetheless. And here we are then with the loco and coaches. So there we have it. There's Pitchford Hall in the Great Western unlined green. Looks absolutely beautiful, doesn't she? She's running number 4953. Really love the look of that. Then we've got the three coaches. If I just turn back this tissue, there we go. This is the coach W25451, it looks like. Again, quite difficult to read upside down. That's the non-brake, and this is also a non-brake. There you go. Same sort of thing, but this one is W16070, and then at the bottom, of course, you have got the brake. Which is, again, another nice coach. Okay, so let's start getting some of this out then. I don't think I've got a detail pack with this one. I don't know whether it would have come with a detail pack and the previous owner got rid of it. I don't think that's true because I was promised that it was new. However, I'm a bit suspicious because there is a gap there for potentially a detail pack, but I didn't get anything like that. So anyway, let's get the locomotive out then. Very, very carefully. And there it is. Now, it's quite apparent that this is, in fact, only the Hornby Railroad Hall class. And as you know, the Hornby Railroad range is the cheaper range of locomotives. And it's a very, very good loco, don't get me wrong. It's one of the best railroad locos, in my opinion, having reviewed the Alton Hall. However, in a £200 train pack, that seems a little bit cheeky. But we'll take a look at this close-up in just a moment and find out how much detail is on this thing for the money. So, yeah, that is very nice. That is Pitchford Hall. Lovely looking loco, and I'll show you that more in just a second. Okay, let's get the coaches out then, and these are lovely coaches, sort of chocolate and cream, quite modern coaches I think. So even if, to be honest, if the loco isn't worth a lot, I reckon these coaches are certainly better than the ones in the Bachmann Ambulance train pack. First of all, you can see that it has got NEM couplings fitted, which is nice. It makes it a lot more versatile. You can put any couplings you like in there. But yeah, generally, I would say it's a pretty good quality coach, this. I'll talk about the weight. It's not very heavy, to be honest with you. It could perhaps do with a little bit more weight to it. It's going on the light side, very slightly, but not too bad. It does have metal wheels, though, which is very nice and quite common, I suppose, from modern rolling stock. But nice to see nonetheless, and I can see that it has got all of the sort of print work going on the windows, which is really nice. So I'll put up one of these coaches onto the white background later on as well and show you one of these up close just so that you get a sense of the detail. But outwardly they look like really beautiful coaches. Really quite pleased with these. So there we go, that's the first of the coaches. Very briefly then I will get the rest out. There we go. So there we are, that's the other one. Again, similarly nicely detailed. Really, really lovely this. Yeah, really pleased with these coaches actually. Although, of course, you do pay a premium for them, so they're going to be nice, aren't they? For a 200 quid train pack. But they are nice, that's the important part. And the brake then, let me grab this out, push it out from the bottom. There we have it, and again, yeah, lovely detail on these things. Not too heavy once again, but not too light either. Seems to be pretty good quality. So there we go then, that is the Tyseley Connection train pack. What I'm going to do now is give you a little bit of history on the Hall class, specifically Pitchford Hall, and after that we'll get some of this stuff up against the white background, and we won't pick it apart obviously, but we'll have a good close look at all this and see what it's really like. Okay, let's do that. So the Halls were introduced in 1928 to the design of Charles Collett, as you probably know, and for many years the Hall class was the standard mixed traffic engine on the Great Western, and the class was heavily based on the previous Saints, of course, and was very closely related to them mechanically, although they were much larger and much more powerful, which makes sense because they were a development, of course. They proved to be extremely successful locomotives, so much so that other railway engineers such as Thompson of the LNER took inspiration from their designs to create their own locomotives, and in addition an impressive 258 of these Halls were produced in total over 15 years, which is quite an unusually long production run, I would say, for a single class of locomotive. Around 10 have been preserved, although sadly the rest were scrapped, and this example, Pitchford Hall, was built in August 1929, and after withdrawal it was eventually moved to Tyseley Locomotive Works, where it was fully restored and it ran again for the first time in 2004. Beautiful loco, really. So there she is then, the very, very beautiful Pitchford Hall class. And as much as I love the model, I think it's beautiful, it is clear that this is just the relatively cheap Hornby Railroad Hall class. And indeed, it's got all of the hallmarks, no pun intended, of the Railroad range. For example, the running board and bodywork is entirely plastic, even down to the whistles and the chimney. No sprung buffers or anything like this, and the cab detail is extremely, extremely minimal. In fact, the only difference between this and the Railroad Hall classes that you could buy on their own is the fact that those are actually lined. If we take a look at Alton Hall here, here's one that I reviewed. As you can see, there's lining all over the boiler here, and here are a couple of the green versions. You can see those are lined. Now, those are being sold for £57 on Hatton's, and of course this one isn't even lined. Now, I'm not complaining that this isn't lined, because obviously the prototype won't be lined either, so that's no problem. But what I am saying is that the fact that this doesn't have the lining on the boiler should have made it cheaper to produce, and so quite what this is doing in a £200 train pack, I'm not too sure. But as I've already said, it is one of the better Hornby Railroad locos. The detail on it is pretty good, but like I say, when you consider that you can pick this up on its own for £57, you really don't want to be buying this at the RRP price of close to £200. Certainly the retailer price of, what, 150 something pounds is a lot better, and definitely the 100 I managed to pick it up for is just fine. But let's take a look at the locomotive, because even though it isn't lined, it is really quite nicely detailed. Well, it's certainly not bad anyway. So yes, even though we haven't got any lining on the boiler, the splashes here, as you can see, are lined in the gold, which is lovely. And we've got the Pitchford Hall nameplate there, which is quite nicely done. Not extra or anything like that, but it is nice and realistic looking, as you can see. The running board itself is made of plastic, so the loco isn't particularly heavy. I would say it's not noticeably heavy, but it's not noticeably light either. The weight is pretty much as you'd want it to be. But clearly the running board here has got loads of riveting on it, which for a railroad model is pretty impressive. And as you can see at the front of the running board there, we do have lamp irons, and it looks like they've been quite cleverly engineered to be a part of the moulding so that they don't have to be separately fitted. We take a look at the buffer beam, you can see it is nicely detailed with rivets and things, but as I've already pointed out, the buffers there unfortunately aren't sprung, which isn't a big deal, but at least it would be an excuse for them to charge 200 quid for this. But nonetheless, they do look realistic and they are made of metal, so I suppose that isn't really too bad. As far as separately fitted parts go, you can see the handrail here, which goes along the length of the thing, which is quite a nice fine looking thing. And the whistles here, as you can see, are separately painted, but I believe those are just made of plastic. And the same goes for the top of the chimney here. It is copper painted, but I'm fairly sure that that is just made of plastic. Also, the safety valve cone on the top here is just a moulded piece, which is pretty common. I don't know many locos that actually do have a separately fitted cone there that is made of metal. And it is painted up, as you can see, although clearly it's not very metallic. Now, unfortunately, just underneath the boiler here, you can see the space there has been left blank. There's no valve gear represented down there or anything like that. Now, obviously, the Hall class was just a two-cylinder locomotive, so obviously there's no third cylinder to worry about. But equally, I think it's unlikely that the area under there would just be a blank sheet of metal, if that makes sense. So, not too sure how realistic that is, but certainly the top-of-the-range locomotives do tend to have some detailing going on down there. Now, as I've already mentioned, most of it is made of plastic, but on the other side we do have a separately fitted reversing rod which is made of metal, so that is at least quite a nice touch. Now, on the side of the cab you can see we've got the running number there, quite nicely applied, 4953 of course. A little bit of gold lining going on around the cab, so it's not fair to say that the loco is completely without lining. There is a little bit going on there. And as you can see, the cab windows here are very nicely glazed too, which is quite a nice touch for a railroad loco, I suppose. Now, if we look inside the cab, you can see that most of it has been left unpainted, but unlike the railroad version, they have made some attempt to improve that, but really all that involves is a little bit of silver paint on the regulator there, and at the reverser seems to be picked out as well. But other than that, it's really quite basic inside there, and again, you'd probably be expecting a little bit more for your money there, especially if you paid the full price. But apart from that, the detailing on the loco is clearly quite nice. If we look at the smoke box door, you can see we've got the running number printed onto there, but again, clearly the smoke box dart there is just a moulded piece. But we do have the lamp iron there and the handrail, so it doesn't look too sort of two-dimensional, if that makes sense. So taking a look at the tender then, similar sort of thing, no intricate lining or anything like that, but of course we do have the Great Western logo, I suppose we'd call it a logo for want of a better term. Signage anyway on the side of there, which is quite nicely done as normal from Hornby, and as you can tell there's a fair bit of riveting going on with the tender there, which is nice to see. The underframe is pretty good. As you can see, we do have the brake rigging fitted already. It's slightly possible, I suppose, that the previous owner might have done that, but they did say it was brand new, so it's equally possible that those were fitted in the factory, which is quite nice. You can also see a water scoop under there, so actually the tender is pretty darn good, I would say. Equally, the coal in the top is nicely detailed. I'm not 100% sure whether that is removable, but actually it isn't too bad at all, is it? It looks reasonably realistic. Around the back you've got a separately fitted vacuum pipe, which is nice to see. You've got more of those metal buffers which aren't sprung, once again just like on the front, and a NEM pocket as well. So at least it's relatively modern in that sense. You do have the option to swap that coupling if you don't like. And also I should point out that the tender does have pickups on it as well, which is a nice modern feature. So sort of mixed feelings really. The model itself is really good quality, it's good and solid, and the detail is okay, but it just feels to me that this plus 3 coaches for £200 doesn't sound like fantastic value for money, especially when you consider that you can pick a better loco up than this, with the lining of course, for £57. You've got to question the value for money there, haven't you? But certainly for £150, like I say, that the retailers charge, or some of them do, it's not too bad. So yeah, really quite a nice loco. Okay, let's take a look at one of the coaches then. So here is one of the coaches then, a beautiful chocolate and cream coach, and as you can see this one is W25451, and of course the W there stands for Western. Now I think it's fair to say that in comparison to say the Bachmann ambulance train pack, the locomotive in this particular Tyseley connection pack does let the side down a little bit. It's certainly not quite as detailed as the one in the ambulance train pack was, but I think it's also fair to say that the coaches in this Hornby set are a lot better. Now obviously I don't have an awful lot of modern rolling stock, so I don't have an awful lot to compare this to, but certainly with my untrained eye I would say the detail on this coach is really quite impressive, and I might even go as far as to say that these make up for the value that the locomotive lost. Now obviously this particular train pack is as preserved, and that's why of course the locomotive is in the Great Western livery and these coaches look quite a little bit more modern, and so that's why we've got the British Railways logo on the side of the coach there, and you've got modern signage such as the emergency lighting point there and the no smoking signs on the windows there of course. And just while we're looking at the windows you can see just how flush those are with the outside of the coach, and that really is quite an impressive feature. And the way that light passes through the plastic there in the windows really does give the impression that they're made of glass. It really is quite, I hope that comes across on camera because that is a nice touch. As you can see, we do have a small amount of interior detailing there. You can clearly see the seats inside there, which is again quite a nice touch of realism. And similarly, we've got quite a lot of underframe detail going on here. I have seen some coaches that are better than that in terms of detail on the underframe, but certainly there's plenty going on there, isn't there? And also the bogie detail is pretty good as well. You can clearly see all of the suspension springs and the axle boxes and things, although none of those are painted or anything like that as per the prototype. If we take a look at the end there, not an awful lot of painted detail, you've just got the C1 there, but as you can also see there's quite a lot of moulded detail going on there. No sprung buffers or anything on this particular coach, and I suppose it's only the really top of the range coaches that do have that. This probably isn't that, but it's certainly one of the most detailed coaches I've got. If we take a look up on the top, which has been painted grey, you can see that these wires, or whatever you'd call them, I suppose they might be wires, are just moulded to the roof there. I have seen coaches, or perhaps DMU cars, which do have separately fitted wires there rather than having them just moulded. So once again, perhaps this isn't absolutely top of the range, but it's, as I say, probably one of the best coaches I've got, or should I say the best set of coaches that I've got. As you can see, the paintwork is absolutely pristine, the lining is absolutely spot on there, really can't fault that. So even though it might not, I mean, I don't know, is this one of the most incredible coaches you've ever seen? It doesn't strike me as being that, but it's certainly pretty good, I would say, for a train pack coach. Let's at least go that far. And it does at least knock the socks off the Bachmann coaches, which come in the train packs, those ex-Clerestory Midland coaches. Yeah, really quite nice coaches, made all the more impressive with the signage going on with the windows. I think my favourite feature is the windows, just the way that they're so flush with the outside of the body there. Really quite nice. So I'm not going to show you the rest of the coaches. Well, I am, they're going to run of course, but I'm not going to show you them up close because it's pretty much the same thing. So let's get all of this down onto the track then and we'll see how it runs. So today I thought I would conduct the slow speed section on the rolling road. So there she is then, Pitchford Hall on the rolling road. Let me know in the poll, do you prefer me to do the slow speed section on the rolling road or on the track? It's up to you, but I thought I would give this a try today just because we'll get a clearer idea of how nice and smoothly she can run. So with that, let's try a little bit of slow speed right now then. I'm just going to ease her up on the controller and we'll see what happens.
Now with tender pickups, the express points aren't going to be an issue, but as you can see, that is pretty slow there. Obviously she's not actually using as much energy as she would normally because she's not having to accelerate herself anywhere. As you can see though, relatively nice slow speed. It's not as slow and as smooth as some of them might be. As you can see, it's a little bit jumpy, but it's certainly not bad at all. And if I increase the speed here, you can see that once again it is a little bit sort of speed up, slow down sort of thing. But once it gets higher in the speed, you can see that it becomes very nice and smooth indeed. And in fact, I can show you the full range of speed that she's got quite nicely on here. So I'm approaching now medium speed, and obviously medium speed on the track with coaches, she'd never go as fast as that because there's a lot more friction, of course. But here on the rolling road, she's free to go at quite some speed. And as I speed things up, you can see that she really will go quite quick. I never really do this because I don't like to run them fast on the track, but here where there's very little friction, it should be okay. So I'm still turning her up, still turning her up. You should start to see her really speed up in a second. Here we go. There we go. That there is full speed. And as you can tell, it really is quite a speed, isn't it? Almost scary at that speed. But yeah, pretty good slow speed, as you know. And by the way, I wouldn't recommend doing that unless they've been running, but mine has been running quite nicely. So there we have it. Let's try it in reverse just to show you that she will do it okay in reverse. Yep, nice and smooth in reverse. So there we go, a little bit of a slow speed test. Let's get her down onto the track now and see how she handles the coaches. Okay, so there she is down onto the track looking very, very lovely, and her coaches are there too, and don't they look superb together? I mean, expensive or not, they are superb coaches, in my opinion. Definitely the nicest I've got. Okay, let's get her going then. Let's see how she runs on the track. Yeah, as you can see, just as nice on the track. Let's back up to the coaches then and see how she does with them. Here she goes, nice and steadily. Some of the more rubbishy train packs from Hornby and Bachmann sometimes have different couplings at different heights, so they almost never couple together properly. But these all have the same NEM couplings on them, which is exactly what you want. Having said that, one of the coupling hooks hasn't actually fallen down properly here. I better fix that. Just push it down. There we go. But other than that, yes, they do tend to couple together quite nicely, and the coaches do as well. So let's give this some juice then and get the whole train pack running together. Forwards, if you would, Mrs. Hall class. There we go. Nice and slowly to begin with so that you get to see those lovely coaches go by. Okay, and I'll speed her up to a better speed and show you what else is running. And running on the inside line, I've got another Hornby Great Western 460, Hornby Railroad Great Western 460. This is the County of Cornwall, with a lovely rake of Great Western coaches, which I always love to run. So there are those. And then on the inside line, I've got the beautiful Alton Hall running, and this is actually the exact same model as Pitchford Hall, except it was quite a bit cheaper. Let me get her into shot here for you. And as you can see now that she's up close, this does also have the lining on it too. So yeah, that's what I was saying about the value. I think the standalone railroad versions are way, way better. But as you can see, she's got some Pullman coaches with her, which should look lovely with her. It's quite a grand looking train, really, that. So without any further ado, let's get this started and have a running session. Now, there are 7 other locomotives on the track, I believe, today. So see if you can let me know in the comments what their names are. And if you're feeling brave, see if you can spot the odd one out. There is an imposter that is not from the Great Western. And there's the County of Cornwall. She doesn't run too often, which is a shame. So here she is today anyway. So despite any very minor gripes I have with this train pack, it is absolutely beautiful, as you can see. I mean, look at this. And more importantly, it is fit for purpose. It runs beautifully. Straight out of the box it did. I gave it a quick service and it ran absolutely perfectly. The coaches never derail. The loco runs perfectly and smoothly. It's expensive, sure, but you really do get your money's worth, don't you? And there's a quality on this set from Hornby that I didn't know Hornby was still capable of, to be honest. So it's really quite reassuring. And there's Alton Hall, also very lovely. Looks great going at that speed as well. Emphasises the cylinder movement, doesn't it? And once again, there's something very, very attractive about the Great Western 460s. They really do have that charm to them, don't they? Always a big fan of those. So all in all, an absolutely beautiful train pack. I mean, just look at those coaches. I think actually I might even call this my favourite train pack now. I know the loco is not the best in the world, but just when it's all together, it just it looks the part and everything clicks, doesn't it? So here are my ratings then for the beautiful, and it really is beautiful, Tyseley Connection Train Pack by Hornby. So obviously the detail has to take into account the coaches as well as just the loco this time. So if I was grading the loco on its own, I think I would give it a 3 out of 5. But the coaches really have impressed me, so I think I'd have given those a 5. So I'm happy to split down the middle there and give the detail a 4 out of 5 there. Power, I'm also giving it 4 out of 5. I let Pitchford Hall try to pull, I think, 7 Great Western coaches, and she actually got them up Gordon's Hill with a little bit of wheel slip. So while the pulling power isn't absolutely incredible, it's not too bad at all. So 4 out of 5 there. Similarly, as you saw, the slow speed was pretty good. It's not absolutely fantastic, but easily worthy of a 4 out of 5 there. Quality then, I've got to give this 5 out of 5. Everything is really, really solid. The build quality is really, really good, and Hornby should be proud of themselves for turning around the build quality so well, because I've really not had any massive quality problems from Hornby in a while now, which is a massive thumbs up. So value then, I think £199.99 for the RRP is a little bit steep, especially when you consider this is just a cheap railroad locomotive. However, having said that, I reckon you can do a lot worse. There are worse deals from Hornby and Bachmann and other companies. So while it's not a bargain by any means, I don't think it's too bad. So I've given it a middle of the road score, 3 out of 5. But certainly if you take a look at this on one of the retailers' websites, Hatton's for example, you can get this for quite a bit cheaper. So it's worth doing if you want one. Overall then, that is 7.90 out of 10. Not a bad score at all. And let's put her into the ranking. There she is, 14th, just above the Bachmann 4575 class and below the Bachmann Mavis. Here comes the County of Cornwall. Quite an attractive loco actually, but she's on DCC, so she doesn't get run that much. But I thought I'd plug my DCC stuff in today and get her running, just because I haven't done in ages. So that's it then folks, that is my review of the Hornby Tyseley Connection Train Pack. I think, to be honest, it's got to be the best £100 I've spent so far this year, hasn't it? I mean, it just is a top-notch train pack. Okay, the loco's not all that great, but it's not bad. And it is one of the best railroad locos out there, so can't really complain. And just those coaches look 100% superb with her, don't they? So I hope you enjoyed that anyway, folks. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to drop the video a like and a comment, please do so, because that really will help me out. But for now, folks, thank you for watching, and I will see you very, very soon. Cheers, everybody.